We start this hour as tensions between India and Pakistan have escalated dramatically following cross-border firing in Pooch along the line of control. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has announced an ex gratia of 10 lakh rupees for the families of those killed, calling the shelling from Pakistan deeply painful. Meanwhile, former US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, speaking to Fox News, has backed India's response, saying no nation would tolerate terror attacks without retaliation. Let's listen in.
Talking to both sides, making clear to them that it is unacceptable to continue this. Okay. We should help them identify what happened. There were terror attacks into India. No nation's going to allow that to happen in their own country without a response. We wouldn't let that happen here, so that's appropriate. Right. But we need to let cooler heads prevail, and we have the diplomatic capacity and the capacity to shape how they're thinking about this, though I think encourage them to keep a lid on this thing.
Well, amid security concerns, Jammu police have rolled out helpline numbers and warned against live coverage of sensitive incidents. Citizens are being advised to stay vigilant and not touch suspicious objects. Nighttime train services in border regions have been cancelled, impacting travel in key districts of the states of India, including Jammu, Amritsar and Firozpur. Pakistan, meanwhile, claims India's strikes breached Afghan soil, a charge strongly denied by both Afghanistan and India. Well, joining us to discuss these ongoing developments in the rising tensions between India and Pakistan is retired Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha, a former Indian Air Force officer. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Let's first look at these escalations that we have seen amid so much uncertainty coming from across the border in Pakistan. Statements which are denied by India and Afghanistan relating to strikes in the region from India. Clear differing in messages between the military and the government. What, in your opinion, is going on in Pakistan at the moment? Is it just a chaotic scene in the higher rooms of office?
Oh yes, it is very chaotic scene, but Joshua, I'll just like to put a small comment in your opening address when you said that there have been wide cross-border ceasefire violations. No, it is not ceasefire violation any longer. It is armed offensive launched against India. It is when you launch the drones, when you launch missiles, when you launch aircrafts to attack the Indian armed forces at various places, not one or two. 36 of the places have been attacked. It's the good luck of India and the good preparations of the Indian air defense system that most of these have been annulled, have been thwarted. But it is no longer a cross-border what do you call it? Border firings, ceasefire violations. It is no longer a ceasefire violations. It is a war right now. Only thing is that army has not come into play for as far as the ground incursions are going on. That has not started. But otherwise, other than that, it is absolute a war. We are in war. Secondly, now going to the narratives. Look, narratives are always part and parcel of any war. Look at anywhere. You may go to the American Times when they landed up in either Iraq or Afghanistan, or even before that somewhere else. Narratives have been created in their favor. That is the part of the game. We have seen it happening in Ukraine. Till now, no Russian or any other media have got access to Ukraine. We are getting the informations only those cleared by Western media, which is coming to us. So narratives are being set like that. So let's accept it. There's a big fancy of fake which is being created in Pakistani media by Pakistani people. You have known that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism, yet they claim that there is no terrorism there. There are no terrorists there. The terrorists who have been killed, they call them as a civilian. Of course, they are civilians. They are not in the military uniform. But have a glance at their funeral. You know, those terrorists if it was a normal, ordinary civilian, it doesn't get draped into the national flag. Look at the long queue of the who's who of Pakistani armed forces lined up against those funerals. So you cannot, generate a narrative to.
Yes, retired Group Captain Jar. I apologise to cut in. We do have some more information to bring our audience. Top government sources have stated that India has taken a firm stand against terrorism. From now on, any future act of terror targeting India will be treated as an act of war. The government has decided that such attacks will not go unanswered and will invite a strong and decisive response. This marks a major shift in India's security posture amid escalating tensions and provocations from across the border. Well, joining us now to discuss this news that we have, Ajay Jandial, a correspondent who's joining us from Jammu. Ajay, thank you ever so much for being here. This clear shift in rhetoric from the Indian government following nights of provocation from Pakistan. What can you tell us about that, and also what the ground is like, ground zero in Jammu?
See, for more than last 3 decades, India is facing such kind of, cross-border terrorism. Pakistan is sending terrorists over here in the Jammu and Kashmir. They are continually killing people over here, and that's why India believes that now, after this tension which is going on, amid this tension, they are saying that we are going to treat any terror attack on India as act of war, and we will definitely treat accordingly. We will not keep mum on such activities, and it will be responded accordingly as an act of war. And this the Indian authorities have said that this is required as well, because many a time we have tolerated such things that any attack took place, we killed, neutralized the terrorists. But what happened? Once again, terrorism revived. Once again, people attempted for the same, and if it was it has happened what has happened, but now in the few coming time, any act of terrorism will be treated as an act of war, and Indian authorities are going to respond it accordingly.
Yes, absolutely, Ajay. Thank you very much for joining us. I will come back to you, retired Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha, for your response on this news. Just to reiterate, top government sources have stated that India has taken a firm stand against terrorism, and from now on, any future act of terror targeting India will be treated as an act of war. Do you think that this change in stance is a method and a plan to ward off any further attacks from Pakistan, or is this a clear shift in the light of any further escalations and provocations from across the border?
Absolutely, absolutely. If this is the policy, and if it is being followed in letter and spirit, obviously it will change the face of terrorism here in India. But you have eased my problems of countering it. When you, in the opening sentence, you mentioned that it is a clear line of rhetoric that the government of India has taken. Look, present government, Modi government, is saying mostly that they have got zero tolerance to terrorism. Yes, it by and large means what it says. But what happens if the government changes after 4 years? There have been government in the past who have adopted a line of very, very feeble response against the terrorism. There was a time here 15 years back, 16 years back, that when you touch a thing, you always have a fear in your mind that that particular thing can be a bomb. It is only in this government's tenure that that sort of fear has gone. By and large, now we are peaceful. By and large, we are peaceful. So the line adopted by the government or whosoever has given this, it's a very good sentence to hear. It's a very good rhetoric, as you mentioned, to be generated or to be made. But implementing is a Herculean task. Look, today we are referring to Pakistan. Maybe that this particular statement has come in relations to the terror emanating from Pakistan. But what happens if Jamaatul Mujahideen takes the onus of it? Hafazat-e-Islam in Bangladesh, that takes the onus of it.
Yes.
Al-Qaeda linked, various regional affiliates. That takes the, there's a jihadi attack here in Kashmir, and some group somewhere, Al-Qaeda, African continent, that takes the onus of it. So what do? You go and chase them at Africa? It's not practical. And Modi government can still try to do it. But what if the next government is not the NDA? If it is some other government which has got very, very lenient sort of approach towards the jihadists, what do you do then? So the people die? No, this is not workable. This line of statement, it is not workable. It cannot be war. When you mount war, you have to do so many of the preparations.
Yes, absolutely. Retired Group Captain Jar, we have some more updates. Sorry again to cut you off. Amid rising tensions, India's Ministry of Defence has released time-stamped photographs of air bases in Sirsa and Surajgarh to counter claims made by the Pakistani government. The images dated May the 10th at 9:17 a.m. show intact airstrips. These are those on screen right now, and operational Air Force stations, clearly dismissing allegations of strikes on Indian military installations. Officials say the release aims to maintain transparency and dispel misinformation at a critical juncture. This, of course, amid a wave of misinformation and news being spread from not just Pakistan. We've also seen global news agencies making mistakes with images, miscrediting different military sources, miscrediting images from different places in the world. I urge the audience now to think about the information that is being put out, whether that's propaganda, fake news, or disinformation. This from the Indian government, of course, countering that, but we must, of course, keep in our mind that not everything that is being released on social media and on other networks is the truth. Retired Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jar, thank you ever so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time, but we do bring another update before we move on. And a moderate resolution satellite has captured imagery over Pakistan's Sargodha airbase this morning, following India's recent airstrikes. While the image quality is limited, initial analysis indicates possible damage to the runway area. Defence analysts caution that a detailed assessment is still underway, but the satellite that we can see here, of course, one dated April 2025 and one dated the 10th of May 2025, has raised questions about the extent of strikes carried out by India. Of course, this coming amid continued tensions. The situation is one that is constantly evolving. This, of course, something we have been across and will continue to be across in the coming hours and days. Moving to